then positive and negative are both one of the same, that this duality is one of the same. And then I can actually learn something from each and every situation
Yeah.
that I'm being presented in life, whether that's something that I consider to be positive and amazing,
Sure.
or something that will test me and be like, oh, right now, how could I react to this?
How we doing, you guys? So we wanted to like have this conversation because we're both going through something similar, and maybe you guys will relate, and maybe we can share our experience so that we like both can learn. Because it's almost like a therapy session in a way, like talking to a camera.
Hi.
Hi, Victoria. How are you?
Let me insta this first. Hey guys.
She's gonna post it on Instagram first. Okay, so I'll start the conversation. So there's like a little story to it, and then there's like our thoughts behind the bigger picture. It's like mildly distracting. That's probably a cool photo though, with the lighting and everything. So I was like leaving the house today to go get gas and whatever, and I ran over a nail in the Jeep, and nothing major. I just had to like wait a few hours. Some guy came by and fixed it for me. But in the moment, it was like very upsetting, and I think what we're trying to say is like life is kind of always testing you. Like in every moment, like even this is a test in a way, to mean that I don't like choke on camera, or I don't like make a fool of myself, or whatever it is. Like everything's a test. So I think if we look at life like that, and if we look at the opportunity that life gives us as an opportunity instead of a test, I guess. I mean, do you see what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah.
Do
you want me to elaborate?
Yeah, it's a conversation.
No, I mean like, do you want me to talk about it, or do you want to like give the intro?
I think that was the intro.
Okay, so I guess what you're trying to say is that whether we want to admit it or not, life is always happening.
Yeah.
Whether we are paying attention or not, life is always happening. And in my experience, and with what we're going through right now, with the test and the things that we're learning right now currently, what I see is that whether or not I am paying attention, or I am trying to control this, or I am aware or not, there's this dynamic happening in like behind the curtain, to put it that way.
Sure, yeah.
And this something, it's just like, I really don't know how to
explain.
How to explain it and
it's more of
articulate it.
I think it's
But
like
it's the cycle of life, like the way things are.
I would, I agree with that. I would almost describe this idea as, for starters, it certainly is an idea, and it's like, I mean, I just break it down. Where are you going?
Oh, I'm just checking.
I'll just break it down in like a sort of like sciencey way, I guess. How at least it works in my head. Everyone else is gonna have their own interpretation, but it's like, so we have our like persona, our person, right? We have like our internal dialogue, and then we have like this internal dialogue. I guess maybe you call it the subconscious, but you're like kind of aware of it. Like you are aware of it, and I would describe it more as a feeling than a dialogue. Like the internal dialogue you have is like, oh, I'm pretty when you look in the mirror. Oh, I gotta get this done or I gotta get that done, and then I guess for the sake of this conversation, I want to call it your aware subconscious, the subconscious that you're aware of. Like beneath that, what you're talking to in front of the mirror, it's like, oh, I feel abundant, or oh, I feel upset, or oh, I feel happy or sad. It's these like behind the scene feelings that sort of dictate the dialogue that is the dialogue that's happening in your internal dialogue and the dialogue that's happening in your persona, like the actions you take and the way you carry yourself and stuff. So like we have been noticing that like, oh, like, so I'm sure there's a word for it. I'm sure like some of these like psychonauts out there have like come up with a word for it, but like
the cycle.
Yes, yeah, but what I'm saying is like we found there's tremendous value in going with the flow of that aware subconsciousness.
Being in alignment.
Yeah,
with
because
that.
like there's gonna be ups and downs. Like it's not like you can control that, but you can be not in resistance to it. If that's what I'm getting at.
What I have been calling it is like a duality. So it's like this duality. Let's say your higher power and you, the person, the persona, the ego, the being. So it's like this dialogue that in order for one to exist, then there's the other. So then you see things like positive and negative, like good and evil. But in order for one to exist, the other one needs to exist as well. So what I have been noticing is that instead of me putting my attention into that specific part that I am not so comfortable about, or the one that I feel vulnerable about, let's say, like if I'm feeling like, oh, I don't feel good about myself today, or I don't like my image, or I don't like how I do this, or how I behave when certain things present. So like instead of seeing it that way, I am trying to more put attention and try to go around it and learn what the possibilities are within that test or lesson, or however you want to call this thing that makes you feel vulnerable or makes me feel like insecure.
So you're seeing the value in that test.
And then I notice how then positive and negative are both one of the same, that this duality is one of the same. And then I can actually learn something from each and every situation that I'm being presented in life, whether that's something that I consider to be positive and amazing, or something that will test me and be like, oh, right now, how could I react to this? So what I'm noticing is that how I react is what actually gives sets the pattern to the next chain of events. So let's say, for example, like that tire this morning. So if we reacted to it like, oh my God, really upset and freaking out, like what are we gonna do? Like, you know, it could get really hard. So in order for you to get past that little tiny bump, you just have to like literally try to not have control of it and let it sort itself out, because in every situation you will notice that you're actually learning something, and it's way better. Like, it's happening for a reason. It's way,
Yeah.
there's always a lesson behind it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm
makes sense.
yeah, and I feel like we both have been aware of this lesson, that there's a lesson happening. I think we've both been aware of this for a while now, but I think we've reached this point now where it's like we truly see the value in that lesson bestowing onto us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because before I would just be like, oh, it's just like a lesson learned, or oh, like life's full of lessons, like one door closes, another door opens. Like we all hear these expressions growing up, we all hear these ideas, but I don't think like, because I never heard these things growing up when I was a kid. So in all seriousness, I think when you're ready to understand something, that's when you'll really understand what that means, and that's what we're pretty much describing. Is like we're at a place now where like we're fully committed to what it is we're trying to build, what it is we're trying to create, and every day we're working towards it. We don't like. There's no weekends. There's no days off. We're fully committed to it, and I think you've been fully committed to it for like 2 or 3 years now. I just recently, if you watch my channel, I just recently quit recently quit my day job. What was it? About a little over a month now. October 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a little scary, it's a little intimidating, but it's awesome. I feel liberated, I feel challenged, I feel excited.
And there was a test there. There was a test that what do you do under fear? What do you do under pressure? What do you do when you throw yourself in the fire? How do you react to this?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you conquer and win?
Yeah.
Or do you crash and burn?
Exactly.
Because the fire will either make you or break you.
Exactly. And that's this lesson that I'm slowly integrating into my personhood, I guess. So I don't know, like I think I just wanted to share that with you guys, I guess. I mean, I don't know how much more to say on it really unless you do.
I want to just share something else before we close this, and it's what I shared with you this morning.
Okay.
That was so sometimes like how we feel like uncomfortable or insecure, or when we go through that pattern, and it's like you will notice that a lot of that chain of events, like I mentioned before, it's literally what are you focusing on. Because you could be doing tons of stuff and you will still feel like you're not doing enough. You could be doing nothing and you will still be hurting yourself, saying, oh, you're good for nothing. You're like not doing what you're supposed to do. So always give yourself the credit you deserve, and understand that it's a process and that you always are doing the best you can with what you have available. Because every human being, and that's the order of life and the order that nature goes, we always take the most efficient route. That's something that I'm sure you have heard. So I don't think that, I rather believe in the good things and in the positive things that my character can do, and believe that that person or that I am doing my best in that moment, instead of judging myself and thinking, oh, you're not doing enough, you're not good enough. You have to wait because you're not ready. You're always ready, and you won't ever be ready. And that's literally the magic of it. You will always be ready, and you'll never be ready. So that's something to pay attention to, and I'm sure we all struggle with it. We are hard to ourselves. We are judging ourselves, saying like that we're not this, we're not that. There's always something to work towards. So I think that by giving ourselves that awareness and that acceptance and understanding and love, we are able to see how much we're actually doing. And then we can actually notice that same goodness in other people. And instead of judgment, that becomes into this chain of everybody helping others and everybody
yeah.
like saying, hey, you're doing great, keep doing what you're doing.
I think that's a big thing, along with like learning the lessons in these quote unquote conflicts that you go through in life. I think the other thing that we're also really focusing on is the attention, like energy flows where attention goes, kind of thing, and that it's like the one thing I've noticed. I mean, you've probably been on this trip for a while, but like the thing I've noticed is like once you start like kind of being more in alignment with what you do believe in, things like happen more quickly. Like things happen more instantly. Like, you know, like the whole tire
there's no resistance.
Right. So the whole tire situation for me, whatever, like that came from me feeling a little nervous about putting faith into myself, and I created a situation for myself. So I think that at least for me, like that's something I'm really trying to be more, not in control, but like trying to be more conscious of, because I see what kind of impact it really makes on my life and in the world around me. So with that being said, you guys, thanks for watching. I mean, unless you want to you want to add anything
think
real
that
quick?
was it, and
Yeah.
I had something else to mention, but I kind of forgot and like passed by and left.
Okay. Well, we can add it into another episode.
Yeah, but pretty much that's what it is, and don't attach to anything, because you won't always feel great and you won't always feel terrible. So
yeah,
just
true,
know
yeah.
that life
everything's temporary.
Life is this magical thing that is happening, and like you know, if you catch the antenna and can project that signal, do that. You know, pretty much. So ride the wave, like, subscribe, share.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
See you soon. Right.